Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried in what could be a first for someone awaiting a major trial on significant fraud charges. SBF has launched a Substack called SBF's Substack, in which he lays out his version of what brought him to this predicament in which he currently sits. He's on house arrest in the Bay Area, Palo Alto, I believe. He is, has one of those little ankle monitors, can't leave the house, and he's taking his Substack to write down some thoughts. Lots of new details in here. Maybe not new, but interesting details. The takeaway here is that SBF is out here in the court of public opinion trying to get his story out there yet again. I got to throw this to Jen, the Hash's unofficial lawyer. Jen, do you think the lawyers are happy about this one? I mean, this you're seeing on the screen now that you can pledge your support for SBF's Substack. He actually interacted with the Wall Street Journal reporter shortly after that was highlighted, and he said, oops, my bad, I'm turning that off. So that's old news. But as it relates to, again, spouting out all this information in an attempt to defend himself, what are the lawyers saying right now, Jen? I'm going to toss that to you.
Well, what baffles me about this is he is on house arrest in a house where two lawyers live, his parents, and he's still out here creating a Substack, getting his story out there. I think we've said from the beginning, this is not great because everything he's doing, everything he's publishing, everything he's saying can be used as evidence against him in court. And we know his former colleagues, former roommates are already making deals with the Fed. They're already revealing what they knew behind the scenes. And if what they say is in direct opposition to what he's saying online, which I think from what we know, we can say it will be, there's going to be a he said, she said, he or she did kind of situation scenario going on here. I don't think this looks good. And I don't know why he still has access to the internet. I don't know why this is being allowed by his lawyers or his parents. And it is just all baffling to me. And I also can't believe that he was charging $8 a month to read his musings. I thought that was very funny. And I am very thankful that he disabled that. Zach, I guess you got to pay the legal fees somehow.
Hey, it was the honest mistake. No worries. No worries.
So many mistakes in his life.
That's what he said.
Mistakes.
I don't know.
Like he should just think before he acts.
This is the best possible timeline is all I'm going to say. That he's launching a Substack to chronicle these thoughts as he awaits a major trial in October. He's got time. He's got nothing to do. He's putting it down, pen to paper, getting the stories out there. It truly is remarkable. There was also a piece, I think it was in the news website Puck, in which he invited a reporter to his house, under which he's in house arrest, to kind of get a feel for what the life of SBF is at this point in time. Kind of crazy that this continues to drag on. Again, in the court of public opinion, it's a bit of a circus, and it's a bit entertaining, albeit maybe a little sad too, considering what this guy's facing toward the end of the year in terms of sentencing. Pretty significant jail time is what he's staring down, and he's turning to Substack to make some thoughts known. Will, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking either this or a podcast. I think we're going to get a podcast later in the year. This is prime territory for that. Maybe like a YouTube live stream. I'm definitely going to be joining Kobe at some point is my bet. I think this Substack itself was a little interesting. Like it was just sort of laying out a lot of numbers that he was saying in Twitter Spaces, or he was just saying in a lot of different tweets that he's put out since he was going to arrest, or since he was arrested and put in jail and then extradited to the United States. So a lot of that stuff wasn't very informative. However, I do think that it is interesting that he's still arguing this line, and it sort of positions him in a place where he's trying to say like, hey, I'm not an evil person, or I did do something dangerous. I just bad at my job. And that's why he says here that FTX was between Voyager and Celsius, right? They weren't really like as nefarious as Celsius, but they weren't really as good as Voyager. They were somewhere in the middle, and that's why FTX blew up. Another point just being here is that he takes another shot at Binance CEO CZ, saying that it was his fault that he precipitated the whole event, and even went as far as saying that there was a PR smear campaign against FTX that was very powerful, leading to the collapse of FTX beforehand. So a few little shots in here, a few little digs in here. SBF can't seem to get away from them. Adam, up to you.
Yeah, so I read the whole thing this morning. I thought it was very interesting. Echo all the comments that have been made so far. The thing that really jumped out to me was not just the Binance shot. He also took a shot at some of their attorneys, who he thinks, acted against his best interest, according to this. He also takes a shot. And, basically what this looks like to me is, on the one side, a person who's very, very, very smart and unable to address the problem that they caused and the crimes that they may have actually committed here. And he does not address, as usual with these types of things, he never gets into like okay, but you borrowed $500 million and then you bought, the Robinhood stock through an entirely separate entity. And now you're saying that it's charitable of you to offer that back. But where did that money come from in the first place, right? There's a bunch of stuff like that where it's like he's so good at weaving a narrative. But the narrative, if you actually understand the details of what the real problem here is with FTX in general, from what we've learned so far, does not comport with the narrative that he's putting forward. So I think that on the one side, he's desperate to control the narrative. And with that court date in October, that's a long period of time where typically he would just not be saying anything. And there would be lots of being said about him, I suspect, during that time. And I just think he's desperate to keep what credibility and provenance he has within the space, because I don't think he has many friends anywhere else. So I think it's sad. We're watching somebody who was very high flying essentially implode. And I don't think he's helping himself. I do think he's going to keep doing this. And for me, it's all going to come down to the court case, and that we're not going to see that for quite some time.